Good evening, I'm Christiane Amanpour. Tonight on Amanpour and Company, my first guest, we have world-renowned Austrian singer, writer, music producer, and author Ulrike Spinknagel. Never heard the name? Most people haven't. She's better known world-round by her one-name persona, Uli. Of course, Uli was the former lead singer of the all-female German punk rock band 1, 2, 3, later known to the world simply by the nickname 1, 2, 3. Uli, it's so good to have you here. And is it all right if I call you Uli?
Yeah, everyone calls me Uli.
So you've sort of taken quite a turn from your roles in the 80s and 90s as the lead singer of 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And we'll talk about that sort of about face later, but and I know you want to talk about it, but first let's talk about what most people know you for in terms of 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, and I'm talking about, of course, sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like a million years still, but people are still now stopping me for autographs.
So you were at the pinnacle of your success with your debut album, Spank. What was that like with that sort of instant success? I mean, I don't think Spank was on the charts longer than 2 weeks before it hit number 1. So what was that like for you, Uli? Sort of becoming this sort of world-renowned megastar just straight out of the cannon, if you will.
Yeah, right. You know, we got really rich really fast. And the first album, we had 6 number 1 hits. Shoot Me Dead, Am I Your Lover or What? Fahrvergnügen, we had 6 hits, so we got really rich really fast. And I thought, I'd better spend this money, so I bought houses, 20 houses I bought around the world, and I bought 2,000 pairs of shoes, because I could.
2,000. Well, that's a lot of shoes. So when did this sort of, sex and drugs come into play?
Yeah. That was after our 3rd album, Here Kitty Kitty.
Yes. I remember the title song well. And from the circles that I hung out in at the time, I recall that you sort of pissed off, if you will, a lot of feminists around the world by going from this, sort of well-respected, highly famous all-female band to what I suppose you might call sort of a pouty sex kitten persona by which we really all know you.
Yeah. That's where the sex and the drugs come in. If it had 2 legs and it snorted cocaine, I was all in.
So, top-selling albums, sold-out concerts around the world, and then you take a real downfall with drugs and sex. You were arrested several times for lewd behavior, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I pushed all the buttons. I pushed all the boundaries. But you have to remember, Christiane, that I came from a very rigid, a Catholic, conservative background. My parents, they were academicians. Father worked at university, as did his father and his father, and And mother was a neurosurgeon who then taught at university. I was an only child. I wanted to live, I wanted to experience, I wanted to do it all.
And you certainly did.
That's so true. I wanted to sow my wild rice.
Wild oats.
Oats, wild oats.
Right. So you make a boatload of cash, you buy a lot of things, you live recklessly, and then, boom, album number 5 drops, which we here in Europe and the UK came to know as, by its German name, Ist meine Bratwurst, or Eat My Bratwurst. And so then what happened with that?
You have a good accent. Can you say Deutsch?
Ja, ja, ein bisschen. Aber daran wurde nichts gesagt. We digress. Let's sort of get back to album number 5.
Yeah, so you probably have notes to make it short for your show. If you ask me, I will go on and on. But in short, we were sued.
Right. So let's get to today, where you've done a real 180, and you're now doing a one-woman tribute show where you play none other than Doris Day.
Yeah, I have always loved Doris Day. Even from when I was a little girl growing up in Neuschwanstein unter den Pupenflagen.
Austria, right. So you're sort of able to then strip away any semblance of the Austrian accent and just sort of morph into this singer/actress from Ohio.
Yeah, it's not unusual. British actors play Americans. It can be done, ne?
Yes. And so you play Doris Day from her mid-30s to her later years, and you're just sort of singing several hit songs of hers.
Yeah, I've always been very, very public about Doris Day being my favorite singer in the whole world.
Did you ever meet Doris Day?
Yeah, I met her once, just once. This was after 1, 2, 3. And I was in California. I decided to go to a dog competition in California called Best of Show. And she was there. I walked up to her and kissed her cheeks. I don't think she knew who I was.
Excellent, brilliant.
Also, when Robbie Taylor from the band The Accountants, he came to me with this show, and I had to do it. I mean, I still worked. I produced music. I wrote my autobiography, Eat My Bratwurst, and how I did it. With the show, I just felt a calling. I had to do it.
And so the show, which is, I understand, called Perhaps, continues to sell out nightly?
Yeah, it's like a dream come true.
Well, I'm just more than curious to see your interpretation of Doris Day, as I'm sure many of our audience members would be as well. So I understand you're going to sing just a little bit of the title song, Perhaps.
Yeah, we'll just cue up the music. It's the last part. If you can't make your mind up, we'll never get started. And I don't want to wind up being parted, broken-hearted.
But if you really love me, say yes. But if you don't, dear, confess. But please don't tell me. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Brilliant, brilliant, wonderful. Oh, gosh, who knew? I mean, gosh, continued success to you. So good to have you here. Thank you so much for being with us, Uli.
My pleasure, Christiane.
Continuing on with our exploration of arts around the world, in just a moment I'll be speaking to famed director, actor Ahmed Haddad and trends in current Lebanese theater. We'll be right back. But if you really love me, say yes. But if you don't, dear, confess. But please don't tell me. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Your thoughts? Oops, my fucking earring fell off. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps. Continuing with our... I forgot the words, darn it.